I want to send out a sincere thoughts and prayers because this is actually like, someone died today. Someone actually died today. And I want to send my thoughts and prayers right now because this is actually really serious. So I want to send my thoughts and prayers specifically to Anna Kasparian because Madeleine Albright, and everyone should remember this. We should all, when the history books are written about the Young Turks, we should all remember that Madeleine Albright was a key influential figure for Anna Kasparian in her political career. And, Madeleine Albright, everyone knows that Anna Kasparian, her political icon, role model, hero, is none other than Madeleine Albright. And, she's done interviews with her at the Munich Security Conference. I was actually a bit confused, why isn't, because the Munich Security Conference just happened again. I was like, why isn't, it was in February, like mid-February. Actually, Zelensky spoke there. He said that he wanted to join NATO. Of all things. So he said that, she interviewed Anna Kasparian, gave basically a tongue bath, as it's been described, to Madeleine Albright, her political icon there at the Munich Security Conference. She was paid to go there on behalf of these, arms industry think tanks and shit, to go and interview Madeleine Albright, and she gave a really incredible tongue bath to Madeleine Albright there. I mean, who wouldn't have a political role model of someone who says something like this?
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
I think this is a very hard choice, although I'm going to say it's as if it's not a hard choice at all. Yes, 500,000, dead, children in Iraq. What is 500,000? That's just a statistic. Am I right? It's worth it, says Madeleine Albright. Listen to that one more time. Shocking if you've never seen this clip, I'm sure.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
I think this is a really hard choice, but yes, we think that, yes, the price is worth it. That's Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks' political role model. Farron, thank you again so much. Appreciate you. So yes, sending my thoughts and prayers to Anna Kasparian. Anya Parmpill summed it up quite nicely here. Of course, this was in reference to another war criminal who died, but the logic still applies. She says, "Don't speak ill of the dead" applies to your aunt who died and had a drinking problem. Not powerful elites whose decisions ruin people's lives and ruin entire countries and civilizations, by slaughtering all of them. Noura Irakit says, Madeleine Albright was one of my earliest lessons in the bankruptcy of identity politics. It doesn't matter if you are the first anything if your politics perpetuate the status quo of racial violence, imperial war making, and capitalist extraction and exploitation. Alan McLeod says, the only thing tragic about Madeleine Albright's death is that it did not occur in an Iraqi prison. This Twitter user said, Madeleine Albright is dead. She called me an anti-Semite when I was 17 to a packed audience. Aaron Mate retweeted this guy as well. I'm from Iraq. I was one of those millions of children who suffered from the sanctions. I almost died because of the lack of asthma medicine because of U.S. sanctions. May God forgive her, but I will never do. So, now let's listen to Scott Ritter's story about the famous dead woman. And Farron, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Check the tweet I DM'd you. Student grills Albright.
Ooh. Here's an Ohio State student, Buckeyes, back in 1998 asking Madeleine Albright why the U.S. bombs Iraq, yet sells weapons to Israel. Madeleine Albright, disgusted face, says it all, so she proceeds to accuse the students of defending Saddam Hussein. Oh, God.
What do you have to say about dictators of countries like Indonesia, who we sell weapons to, yet they are slaughtering people in East Timor? What do you have to say about Israel, who is slaughtering Palestinians, who impose martial law? What do you have to say about that? Those are our allies.
I say fuck them.
Why do we sell weapons to
It's worth it.
these countries? Why do we support them? Why do we bomb Iraq when it commits similar problems?
God. I can only imagine the amount of racial slurs circling through her fucking pea head right now.
There are various examples of things that are not right in this world, and the United States is trying. I really am surprised that people feel that it is necessary to defend the rights of Saddam Hussein, when what we ought to be thinking about is how to make sure that he does not use weapons of mass destruction.
The Wicked Witch. She has perished. Hey, what happened to college students actually applying pressure and holding, State Department officials accountable? Now you have TikTok liberals that champion and parade around their woke identity politics, but will literally go out and simp for Anthony Blinken and Lloyd Austin and Victoria Nuland and all these other fucking William Burt. Literally. Mike Pompeo. What in the fuck when did this change happen? You want me to tell you when this change happened? It happened when Soros and all of these billionaires, deep state billionaires, began funneling money into Western Ivy League and elite universities and plaguing our country's youth with these cancerous fucking ideologies. That's when it started happening. And unfortunately, those ideologies are spreading to other corners of the globe right now.
I'd like to...
Who are shouting, just a moment.
I'm not defending them in the least. What I am saying is that there needs to be consistent application of U.S. foreign policy. We cannot support people who are committing the same violations because they are political allies. That is not acceptable. We cannot violate UN resolutions when it is convenient to us.
Yes, we can. I just did it.
You're not answering my question, Madam Albright.
Bro, where did college students like this go? All right, so let's hear what Scott Ritter has to say about Madeleine Albright. Let's go back to the video.
Yeah, no, well, I think you're gonna be around for a while. You seem robust and very healthy. Someone who isn't going to be around for a while is someone who said that it was worth it to kill 500,000 Iraqi children. As we were speaking, Madeleine Albright died. That's what I'm being told by everyone in the chats. And, I just wanted to play a video of memory of Madeleine Albright. And since Scott, you were around the Clinton administration, I can't let this conversation go without getting your thoughts on this longtime American diplomat who was so consequential in so many.
Yeah. I like the blunt nature of it. It's like, you're in front of a live stream of they were streaming to 9,000 people or something. And then just be like, someone who's not going to be around for too much longer actually is someone who said that it's okay to kill 500,000 Iraqi children. It's worth it. Madeleine Albright, she died. Bro, Max is so funny, actually.
The U.S. interventions. Let's just watch this interaction between Madeleine Albright. I think a lot of people will forget about it, and I have a little bit of biographical information on her here. This is her at a book event in Prague.
This is crazy too.
Get out!
Bro, old people literally become such fucks when they're old. Or just people become such fucks when they're old. Not all the time, but definitely, I probably will if I'm being real with you guys. Because, at that point, when you're about to die, it's I don't care. I already don't care about, I care about people. I care about like like challenging power and helping people who are being oppressed. But like at the end of the day, like if you're trying to be a fucking idiot to me, I don't care about. I could care less about you.
Those are Serbians. Wait for it. Wait for it. Here it comes.
You hear what she said? You hear what she said? Or do you need me to replay that one more time?
Here it comes.
Disgusting Serbs. Get out! Holy fucking shit, bro.
Disgusting Serbs, she said. Disgusting Serbs. So that's the late Madeleine Albright. And as I say in this tweet, she was the born Yana Korbelova. She was the daughter of Joseph Korbel, who was a anti-communist former Czech diplomat who despised Tito. He was actually brought to the United States to, I believe, the University of Denver through a CIA program. And her mentor was, and the family owned land in Galicia, which was taken by Tito. So sort of a lifelong anti-communist jihad was passed down to her.
Where does that leave us? Fascism. Anti-communism always leads us to the same place.
She was mentored by Zbigniew Brzezinski, I believe, at Georgetown University.
Couldn't be more perfect that, she was mentored by Brzezinski also.
It was his family who owned land in Galicia, I'm sorry. He was a son of a diplomat who fought with Poland's national army, the national army, I believe, of Joseph Pilsudski, who's actually sort of an inspiration to the Azov battalion in Ukraine. And they fought against the USSR. And so you see this kind of old world hostility pouring out in this exchange with Serbs who had come to protest her at a book event. And this book was, about the fascism today.
Serbs?
And basically every country that Albright doesn't like, specifically Russia, is fascist. And we have to commit regime change to end fascism. It's a very crude portrayal or perspective on the world that I think informs a lot of the people, Scott, that you mentioned, who are not Russia experts, but are sort of just ideologues controlling Biden's policy. But what are your thoughts on Albright?
Well, Madeleine and I have a long history together. If you want a little war story, I can give you a little war story.
This story's so based. All right, this is going to be the last story we react to in this podcast, in this thing, and then we're going to move on to something else.
In 1998, I had been thrown out of Iraq, called a CIA stooge and the world's worst person and all that. All of it's true except the CIA part. But I went to the White House because the question was, how do we respond to this? So I went to the White House, the Situation Room, and I briefed them on potential response options. And I said, we can't let the Iraqis get away with this. They don't get to pick who the chief inspector is. My boss, Richard Butler, does. And if Richard Butler chooses me to go in, you guys need to back me up. And they said, no, you got to go in because you were singled out. And we also have to, at that time, while we're doing this, Kofi Annan had gone to Iraq and come up with a deal to allow inspectors into sensitive sites, into presidential sites. So it was decided that I was going to test the sensitive site modalities. And I said, we can go in heavy, we can go in light, we can go in the middle. And I gave a list of targets. The U.S. at the last second threw in the Ministry of Defense. And I said, whoa, we don't have a legitimate arms control reason at this time to go to the Ministry of Defense headquarters. Not only that, but Tariq Aziz has said that if you go there, you'll be, it's a red line and we'll go to war. We're not going to let you in. They said, that's why we want it. I said, well, you don't get to make that call. we get to make that call. And I went back to New York to brief Richard Butler. While I was in the White House, Richard Butler was over at the State Department meeting with Madeleine Albright. So we get back to New York City and we get summoned to the U.S. Embassy, to the U.S. mission. Bill Richardson is the ambassador, and we're up in Bill Richardson's office. It's me, Butler, Charles Duffler, Richardson, and a couple other, the deputy ambassador and some other people. And Butler gets up on a whiteboard and he starts drawing. And he says, all right, Ritter, you got to go in on this day, and you have to have a confrontation here, which will be the Ministry of Defense, so that we can start bombing on this day. I said, we start bombing.
Could you imagine that? You're a UN weapons inspector, and you have the U.S. bringing you, well, why am I saying, can you imagine? I more so mean, could you imagine being in Scott Ritter's shoes? You're a UN weapons inspector. Your task is to essentially just determine whether or not, things X, Y, and Z are in places X, Y, or Z. I guess that's improper. Whether or not things X, Y, and Z are in places A, B, or C. This is your job. There's not supposed to be a political component to your job. You are supposed to be an independent observer and nothing else, nothing more. And you're being brought in by the U.S. and they're telling you, regardless of what they say, regardless of what the Iraqis say, you are to start a confrontation with them that will inevitably cause us to not be able to carry out the weapons investigation, which will then prompt us to have the perceived justification to start bombing Iraq. And listen to what Scott did. So based.
What do you mean we? We're the UN. He said, no, U.S. And I said, well, don't you know that if you send me in as a weapons inspector, I work for you, but we work for the Security Council, and we're mandated by a resolution, and nothing in the resolution says we get to start wars. He says, no, you just do your job. We're going to take care of it. But apparently my hesitation got back to Albright. So I deployed to Bahrain to start training for this mission, which is a tough mission. We're talking about potentially setting up a military conflict that could cause the Iraqis to take us hostage. We always had to worry about that. So, this a lot of little, feathers in the stomach kind of stuff. And I'm training the team, trying to get them hard for this mission. We're going to do, all of a sudden, boom, phone. Ritter, you're not chief inspector. Albright nixed it. You're done. I said, well, who's going to lead this mission? Well, we'll find someone else. So I went and told my team, and to their credit, they all came together without any prompting from me and wrote a letter back to Butler saying, the only person who can lead this team is Scott Ritter. We all resign. We're not going to do it. We quit. This inspection's done.
The only thing we have, and it's very scary, because was it Benjamin Franklin who said that the only way that you can keep a secret amongst three people is if two of them are dead? The only thing we have in this world, the only thing that really we do form any sort of bonds of trust on, or determine a level of paranoia upon, is our faith in human trust. And I don't know, there's something about that story is just so beautiful to me. The fact that his entire team said that we're not going to do the mission because they saw what was happening, and the entire team stepped in and said, we're not going to do this unless Scott Ritter is leading it.
And Butler went, well, you can't do that. So he makes phone calls. Long story short, it became a race. Who could get to Bill Clinton, because it was Man of the Year in New York City. Bill Clinton's there. And basically they have to get over Albright's head, get to Bill Clinton, and get him to support me being chief inspector. So Albright's trying to get to Clinton. Bill Richardson's trying to get to Clinton. CIA's trying to hunt Clinton down.
This is how much of a shit show that the U.S. deep state is. So when I tell you guys that these people are dumb, they're scatterbrained, it's chaotic, unorganized, this is during the Clinton administration and the lead up to Iraq, which is oftentimes painted as a unified operation amongst the deep state. It really wasn't. And now imagine how much in comparison, relatively outrageously unorganized the current bunglings of the State Department and of the deep state, surrounding the Ukraine crisis are.
And they finally get him, and Bill Richardson sneaks in front, takes Butler and says, Butler picks Ritter, and Clinton says, well, you got to pick your best man. Scott Ritter's the guy. He's got my support. So he leaves. Madeleine Albright comes in. It can't be Ritter.
Pretty good.
Clinton
Bro, he's got such a good Bill Clinton impersonation. Listen.
says, Butler picks Ritter, and Clinton says, well, you got to pick your best man. Scott Ritter's the guy. He's got my support.
You gotta pick your best man, and Scott Ritter's the guy, and he's got my support.
He leaves. Madeleine Albright
I feel like it's more of a
comes in. It can't be Ritter. And Clinton went, well, I already said it's going to be Ritter. So I did it. Long story short, inspection. I stopped. Madeleine Albright's in Paris with the French eating dinner. And she turns to her French colleague and goes, guess what's going to happen real soon? Cruise missiles are flying. We're taking Baghdad out, man. It's beautiful, beautiful. He said, how do you know? Because we got the fix in. Well, the fix was me. I went in and negotiated access to the Ministry of Defense. I sat down with Tariq Aziz and Anwar Rashid and the others, and I said, you guys know that this is a trap, that if you don't let me in, your world disappears. I said, so why don't we find out how to let me in so I could do my job so we don't have to have a war? And I got in, we inspected it with conditions that were okay with me, and the war stopped. Albright hated me at that point, hated me. In August, I was back, and Albright stopped the inspection. A big inspection that we had done. Albright stopped it on her orders, called Richard Butler after he ordered me to stay behind to do it, called him, I got pulled out. Sandy Berger, National Security Advisor, got the president to pull me out. So I'm back, and I resigned. This was the final straw. I said, I can't let the U.S. do this. So I'm resigning. I'm getting ready to testify before the Senate. And Albright was supposed to testify with me, but she refused to. She didn't want, because she knows I have all the receipts. I know everything, nothing. She didn't do it. Neither did William Cohen. But Albright is running around talking about how I'm making this stuff up, how this wasn't U.S. policy. And, the bottom line is I went up and I humiliated Albright. I showed how she was a liar, that she was doing this. And she had to admit it. She had to write an op-ed where she pretty much said, yes, we did control the inspections, but only because we wanted to control the tempo and the timing because it was politically sensitive. I said, yeah, but you don't get to do that, even if you're Secretary of State. And this is when Joe Biden famously said that, that's why they get the big bucks. That's why they get the limousines. Scotty Boy wants in, but people that with the higher pay grade get to make the decision. But the bottom line is Madeleine Albright hated me with passion. She and I had no use for one another. There it is. I had an interaction with a famous dead woman.
And I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, on this historic day, fuck Madeleine Albright and fuck Dick Cheney. All right, everybody.